There probably hasn't been a bigger or more dynamic year in recent television history than 2018. Among all this great TV, certain moments proved unforgettable in ways that, for better or worse, fans will be discussing for years. Here are the biggest TV moments of 2018, the good and the bad. Henry Winkler has been a TV legend for more than 40 years. In the 1970s, he was probably the most popular cultural figure in America for his work on Happy Days portraying leather-wearing, jukebox-smacking ladies' man Arthur Fonzarelli, aka Fonzie. He received his first of 6 Emmy nominations way back in 1976 for that role. But it took until 2018 for Winkler, widely regarded as one of the nicest guys in Hollywood, to finally take home that prized statue for television excellence. For his role as acting coach Gene Cousineau on HBO's dark comedy Barry, Winkler won the first trophy of the night at the 2018 Emmy Awards, and the audience leapt to their feet as the former Fonzie delivered the speech he'd written in 1976. The best part? Telling his kids, who are full-grown adults, that it was past their bedtimes. If you've been anywhere even close to the internet in the past few months, then you know that prolific comic book writer and editor Stan Lee, whose cameos in nearly every Marvel movie made him a familiar figure to billions of people across the world, passed away in November.
I guess one person can make a difference. Enough said.
With the news that the co-creator of the Marvel Universe had died, accolades, praise, and tributes came pouring in from people in all walks of life. And then, real-time host Bill Maher weighed in with a piece on his show's blog called Adulting, a disrespectful dismissal of comics in general, and by extension, Lee in particular. Claiming that Lee had only ever inspired his fans to go watch a movie, I guess, Maher, who has never shied away from using snide comments to get attention, advised comic book fans to grow up and move on to big boy books without the pictures. Presumably, he meant his books, which are all about how smart Bill Maher is for knowing about sarcasm. Maher dealt with the fallout of his remarks on Hulu's Larry King Now. He didn't apologize, claiming that he wasn't even aware he'd caused a hubbub, and clarified that he'd meant that thinking comic books and superhero movies could have artistic worth was just the symptom of a stupid culture. Not a good look, especially given the circumstances. Donald Glover's first time hosting Saturday Night Live in May 2018 was timed to promote his role as young Lando in Solo, a Star Wars story. Unfortunately, between Atlanta, This Is America, and absolutely killing it on NBC's Late Night Institution, that movie might be the least memorable thing Glover did all year. Glover shined in every single sketch he was a part of. He played a sleazy lawyer defending Jurassic World over the many violent dinosaur-related deaths for which it was certainly liable. He did musical comedy in a high-concept sketch as Raz B. Berry, a scorned man who steps out of an 80s music video to exact revenge on who he very wrongly thinks is a cheating girlfriend. Glover also served as the musical guest under his stage name Childish Gambino, launching the single that turned out to be one of the most controversial songs of the year. More than 100 million people tune in to watch the Super Bowl every year, making the halftime show one of the most criticized and scrutinized performances of the year, if only because of the sheer magnitude of the gig. With that many eyes, musicians need to bring their A game. And when Justin Timberlake headlined the spectacle for the first time since the infamous 2004 performance with Janet Jackson, he certainly did that, assuming the A stands for awful. While dressed in a camouflage outfit and a red bandana that made him look like a golden retriever, Timberlake pushed his way through a medley of hits like Rock Your Body and Sexy Back. He had reportedly planned to employ a Prince hologram in his set, but canceled it after objections from, among others, Prince himself, who once remarked that a technological recreation of a dead musician would be the most demonic thing imaginable. Instead, he delivered a lackluster cover of I Would Die For You, alongside an image of Minnesota's finest projected onto a sheet. It only served as a reminder of the controversy, not to mention inviting a comparison to Prince's own, far superior halftime show in the 2007 Super Bowl. Death is a major part of The Walking Dead, and every season brings at least one hard-hitting tragedy as fan-favorite characters struggle against endless hordes of zombies. In 2018, the show gave us one of its most excruciating yet heartbreakingly beautiful deaths when it killed off Carl Grimes, a character who'd been with the show from the beginning and who represented hope for the future. Carl had already endured plenty of tragedies, including the death of his mother while giving birth and the violent loss of his right eye, but remained strong, confident, and brave. In the end, though, Carl was bitten and chose to end his life in a way that revealed his inner decency. The good and heartbreaking news is that he had time to put his affairs in order. bonding with his little sister Judith and writing poignant letters to his loved ones, making his death even more effective. While it still has plenty of fans, The Walking Dead gradually shed millions of viewers who were tired of being manipulated by narrative stunts. Season-ending cliffhangers, fake-out character deaths, and killing off fan-favorite characters in a parade of misery simply wore viewers out. In late 2018, The Walking Dead once again messed with fans. Earlier in the year, star Andrew Lincoln announced that he was leaving the show. AMC heavily promoted the last episodes featuring Lincoln as Rick Grimes, and most viewers assumed he'd die. It certainly looked that way when he blew up a bridge to kill some zombies and got impaled on metal, only to be airlifted to safety. Right after this episode aired, AMC announced that Lincoln would go on to star in 3 new movies about Rick, meaning that all that fuss wasn't for a send-off, it was just a promotion for a spin-off instead. It's strange and uncomfortable to consider a world without Adventure Time. Pendleton Ward's wildly imaginative, funny, tragic, and strange Cartoon Network series changed the game for TV animation upon its debut back in 2010. Over nearly 300 episodes, it created an elaborate land called Ooo that was slowly revealed to be a post-apocalyptic world that had been nearly destroyed by the Great Mushroom War, so named for the mushroom clouds left by nuclear weapons. In the 1-hour final episode, the Great Gum War ends not with the horrific violence of the Great Mushroom War, which led to the land of Oo's formation, but with peace, as the leaders of the 2 factions agree to rule in tandem. But then Glob, the most evil thing in existence, sees that calm as an opening to return, and does all kinds of awful things. In the end, goodness wins out, and viewers see Bimo becoming the future ruler of Ooo. Bimo tells the story of the war to 2 young adventurers named Shermie and Beth, who bear a striking resemblance to Finn and Jake. It was a thrilling, if bittersweet, finish to a show that already ranks among modern animated classics. Reboots were huge in 2018, including the reboot of the 2000s pop culture sensation Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. Both then and now, the show sends 5 gay-identifying lifestyle experts to help slovenly hetero dudes clean up their acts and better their lives. The 2018 version turned down the camp and turned up the emotion, as a brand new Fab Five based in Atlanta helped individuals improve more than just their wardrobes, making connections across race, religion, and economic status, demonstrating that healing was possible in a divided culture. But one moment rang totally flat, reminding viewers that this particular reality show is very real. On the 3rd episode of the Queer Eye reboot, the gang piles into a car to go help out a Georgia man named Corey. Before they get there, a cop pulls them over. Cast member Karamo Brown, an African-American man, is behind the wheel, and viewers can see his face fall flat as he faces a situation with the potential to get tense at best. The officer sternly approaches the vehicle and asks Brown to get out, which Brown's co-stars firmly protest. But hey, don't worry, it's all a joke. This cop is just Henry, the guy who nominated his friend, and someone who really doesn't understand that making marginalized people feel threatened isn't all that funny. The only good part of the show was that Karamo was able to discuss his fear in a way that was accessible to both the audience and to Corey. A conversation that brought a whole lot of depth to a show that's usually focused on how to tuck in your shirt.